Well, good morning. It's the appointed time for the MAPS 3 Citizens Advisory Board meeting of April the 23rd. We will call the meeting to order, noting that there is a quorum, and begin with a welcome to our newest member of the Citizens Advisory Board, David Greenwell, the councilman from Ward 5. David, welcome. We're glad to have you serve with us this next year. It's going to be an important year in the history of MAPS 3, and we're glad to have you as part of it.
Thank you.
I also want to welcome back our colleague Mike Dover. Mike, we've missed you during the episodes of health that you've been working through over the course of the last weeks and months, and it's great to have you back. We're glad you're here today.
You know, Tom, if I had a senior health and wellness center to visit, I may not have missed it.
Well, then speed up the process at your own pace. And I do want to say that out of a group of many applicants, I was selected by staff to model the new MAPS 3 shirt. Well, maybe there was only one applicant. But I do want you to notice that we had an opportunity to purchase these from Lisa, and just wanted to say I'm modeling it today, and I recommend it. And I don't need any more comments about it doesn't look so great on you. Anyway, I commend it to your consideration. Item 2, we have before us and in your packet the minutes of the March 26th meeting. Are there additions or corrections? Shall we approve them?
I move approval.
It's been moved and seconded. We approve the minutes of the meeting. Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The minutes are approved. We also have before us in item 3 the approval of the minutes of the April 9th meeting for the steel beam signing event. Are there additions or corrections to those minutes? It's been moved that we approve it. Is there a second? It's been seconded. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Those minutes are approved as well. And now, David, would you lead us to the MAPS 3 Revenue and Expenditure Report, item 4.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You have in your packet the MAPS 3 Revenue and Expenditure Report for the period ending March 31st, 2015. On the revenue side, for the month, we have $8,467,369. For fiscal year, we have $84,365,647. For total program revenue of $501,109,006. On the expenditure side, for the month, we have $6,442,834, with the bulk of that being the river expenses, and that's because of the whitewater construction that is underway. For fiscal year, we have $32,005,211. And for total expenditures on the program, $94,971,621. Then you also have the MAPS 3 Budget and Obligations Report for the period ending April 10th, 2015. And I'll answer any questions that you might have.
Any comments or questions for David?
Mr. Chairman, just one quick question. I noted the timing issue on the interest. Can we assume that the March interest was comparable to February?
Yes, sir. It's typically about the same, and I'm sorry I don't have that number for you today. I think last month it was 100,000 and change, something like that. So yeah. It is.
Move approval. Michael Adams, as our Chief Financial Officer of our group, you have any comments that you want to add for us?
I do not. I move approval.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded that we receive the Revenue and Expenditure Report and the Budget Status Report. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It is approved. That brings us to the next item. David?
Yes, sir. The next item is recommend City Council authorize the use of $400,000 of MAPS 3 Senior Health and Wellness Center number 4 funds for MAPS 3 Senior Health and Wellness Center number 1, Project M3-H002. I believe Mr. Dover wants to respond to this.
Michael?
Thank you, David and Mr. Chairman. The subcommittee met yesterday to consider this item with this language, and after quite a discussion, the consensus of the committee yesterday was to actually strike this item. What we discussed as a better approach would be for Healthy Living, Inc. to actually go through the bid process. So rather than working with intangible budget numbers, if you will, so we could get a real handle on what these costs might be. In fact, it may be more. In fact, it may be less. We just believe that it would be a better approach to wait rather than authorize the use of this money. And Gloria, I know, has some feelings. I was going to ask her. She didn't know I was. I asked her to kind of voice the other side of that issue regarding taking funds from another center. But in short, we decided to not ask the advisory board to take $400,000 from the 4 Senior Wellness Center. But again, let's wait to see what those numbers actually are, and then we can decide what it might be the best direction to go.
Gloria?
Yes, there's definitely a consensus of opposition to the increase. We had several factors. One, in terms of generating additional monies or taking monies from one project to add to another. What would be the long-range impact, whether or not we would be able to have 4 senior wellness centers. So I believe that is a correct action to take, and that is to remove this as an item and wait to go out for bid to determine how much really is needed.
Mr. Chairman, if I could.
Yes.
I was going to say, so Mr. Chairman, of course, we'll answer any questions, but we would ask that you consider striking that item for this meeting.
All right. And David, you
I
want
just want to further clarify that what we will do is do the project as outlined now. We will have alternates that the subcommittee and this board can review at that point and see if we want to allocate this money. And the reason why we were asking this is because of the time it has taken to develop the program and the wellness centers. Inflation has chipped away, if you will, at the budget. And that's why we were asking for additional funds, with the thought that Wellness Center 4 could maybe move up a little bit to make up for that.
All right. If I'm understanding this, then with that explanation about the discussion in the subcommittee, you're asking that this item be stricken from the agenda and not considered today. Carol, I have the authority to do that. In that case, unless there's an objection, we're going to strike this item and move to the next item on the agenda. The item stricken. That takes us to item 6 then on the agenda. David, would you explain that to us?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 6 is recommended resolution approving change order number 5 for MAPS 3 Oklahoma State Fairgrounds Phase 2 new expo building, increase of $55,617.95, project M3-F002. This is a change order that has 3 items on it. The vast majority of this change order is an access drive modification. It is a service drive on the north side of the expo building that connects with an adjacent building, and as we redo the parking and the drives in that area, we felt like it'd be a better situation if this driveway was straightened instead of being curved. And part of this driveway issue will also require some utility relocations, fire hydrant and some power and things like that. So that's $54,575.33 of this change order. Change order 2 is some Knox boxes, which is a fire department. I guess the best way to describe it is a piece of equipment. It's a box with a common key so that they can get to things, but vandals cannot. And then there's a light pole and vendor power relocation, which is actually a no-cost item. We're at 2.86% in change orders on this project, so we're well within our 10%, and this comes with the approval from the Fairgrounds Subcommittee.
Thank you. Bob, any words you'd want us to hear from the subcommittee?
Just a slight addition to help you understand the geography. The Centennial Building is an existing building that is north of the location where the Expo Center is being built. It currently has a curved drive that actually impedes the development of the Expo Center, and so this is simply to change the location and structure of that drive. It's a service drive, as I understand it, for loading into the Centennial Building. We just need to move that and change that around so that we can have proper access to the Expo Center that's to the south.
And David, I'm understanding you to say that this is not a change order that would increase the total overall budget, but merely is a change that occurs within the existing budget that we've approved.
That's right. It's still within the contingency amount.
All right. Are there further questions? Further comments? Shall we approve this, Bob?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution in item 6 on your agenda. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The resolution is approved. Let's move to item 7, David.
Item 7 is recommend resolution approving change order number 7 for MAPS 3 Oklahoma River Phase 3 Whitewater Facility, increase of $25,154.02, project M3-R004, WC-0817, SC-0912. This change order has 4 items. The most significant item is the kayak building modifications. So as we got into working with the operator and as we got further in with the plans, it was decided that because of the shape of the building, it would make better sense if the floor plan were flipped so that the kayak storage was in the more square part of the building and the restrooms were in the more pointed part of the building, because all these buildings out there are triangular. So when we moved the restrooms, the sewer and water utility facilities had to lengthen, and there were some HVAC concerns. So that is to lengthen those utilities. Then the conveyor belt manufacturer had some structural modifications, so we needed some embedment plates to help better support this conveyor belt. If you remember, this is a large conveyor belt that the kayaks and the rafts will get on that will go from the lower pond up to the upper pond. So that was $2,958. Then the bridge design revision, if you remember, we value engineered the pedestrian bridge from a custom bridge to a more standard, off-the-shelf, if you will, bridge, and that required some formwork changes on the abutments. That's $2,813. And then there were some plumbing revisions in the main building that, after we got under construction, felt like it would better serve the building. So this change order is 0.08%, and with all of number 1 through 7, because we value engineered so much out, we're still into the negative on the change order amount. So this also comes with approval from the River Subcommittee.
D, you...
Heartily approve it. I'd like to approve.
Okay. It is a motion that we approve the resolution. Is there further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The resolution for the change order number 7 for the river project is approved. David, that takes us to new business.
We don't have anything?
We have plenty of old business, huh? Okay, that brings us to the advisory board subcommittee reports. Anyone have a report they'd like to give? Nathaniel, you want to start?
Sure. On the streetcar, so we recently received presentation from Booster Gardner on the stop designs, what those are going to look like, and it's pretty neat because there's going to be an element of it that's going to be distinct to each district. So you should be seeing those if you haven't already seen those. Also, review of the wireless component of the streetcar. How much can we go wireless? There's the minimum required amount of wireless that we have to go in order to clear the bridges, but these batteries are capable of doing more, so trying to figure out how far they can go wireless, and it was more than I expected. It looks like at least a third of it can be wireless, but we're still engineering that design. Negotiating the contract, and I'll let David touch on that since he's more updated on that, but and also a review of the intermodal hub. Received an update on that yesterday, and it's coming along very nicely. Liked the design, very impressed with the functionality of it, and they're keeping the Art Deco feel as they extend it to the Bricktown side underneath the tracks, and so that's coming along well also.
Bob?
Just a quick update on the Fairgrounds Expo Center. Work has progressed, and I think this next month we'll really see stuff coming out of the ground. All of the piers are in place that support the vertical beams, so they're moving along very well with construction. I think you'll actually see some stuff above ground here very, very soon.
Anyone else? Well, let me just briefly tell you that the Convention Center Subcommittee did meet, and we have scheduled some additional meetings. There is much work going on between meetings, and I'm going to leave it to David to talk about in his report the process and the scheduled meetings and the detail of it. But I would just want you all to know that we continue to meet. We have established a goal of having a recommendation to the City Council for a site for the Convention Center by their July meeting, July the 7th. And that's going to require probably some intermediate meetings rather than just monthly meetings, and those are being scheduled now. We're expecting our consultants to be in town next week, and I'll let David explain the details of that. But I would just want all of you to know that we are aware that we need to move forward with this, and we are very much aware that other projects depend on us getting to a resolution on a site so that the park and transit and other projects will feel secure in their planning as well. Sue, anything you want to add to that?
Not about the convention center,
Go ahead.
but I would like to just make a point that in the Trails and Sidewalks Committee, we do have a public meeting next Tuesday, April 28th, and that's just an open house meeting, an informational meeting. We've invited stakeholders, neighbors, people that will be affected or interested about the I-44 trail. So that happens next Tuesday.
Thank you. Any other thing from the subcommittees? Dee?
I just want to say thank you for everyone that came out to the Whitewater facility beam signing, and I think you can all see the progress going on. And Mike would like to mention that the national team trials for the Olympics, which is an every other year thing, will be on the second week in May at the river.
Wow. Okay. Anything else from the subcommittees? Okay. David, you have some informational items for us.
I do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to let the board know that the first package for the furniture, fixtures, and equipment for the Whitewater facility will go out next week. It is a request for proposals, and this request for proposals will be for rafts, kayaks, personal flotation devices, paddles, all the equipment that actually is used within the Whitewater itself. It won't be the office furniture or any of that stuff. So we're going with this package first, and like I said, it'll be out next week. And then also I wanted to update you on the rapid blocks that we talked about last month. We were authorized to go out and procure the rapid blocks, and we had originally planned on doing a direct agreement with the rapid blocks company. We worked and worked and worked to try and get that to work, but ultimately we couldn't. They weren't able to give us a performance bond, and a performance bond guarantees that we will get what we have ordered and what we have paid for. So there were difficulties in that, only because the company is small enough and unique enough that they don't have large inventory. They don't have all these rapid blocks sitting back. They make them as they're ordered. So they didn't have the inventory that the bonding company could lean on. So what we ultimately did is we did a change order with Downey Construction to order the rapid blocks. It's still within the amounts that was authorized. That way we can get our performance bond, and one of the more important things was that we didn't want to get behind Rio and other countries that are ordering these rapid blocks for their whitewater facilities, because this has really become the state-of-the-art product that everyone is using. So we got that to council. It was approved. We authorized Downey, and they have ordered those, pardon me, they have ordered those blocks, so we did not get behind Rio, and I believe Jeffrey told the subcommittee that we should expect first part of those blocks in June. And that's important because they need to start using those blocks to check the course. And like I said, we didn't want to be behind, so it would delay the project. So that's an update on the items that we have.
I'd like to make a comment or two on that. I think this comes across here as a change order, and I think to clarify what David said, it's not a change in the overall budget for the river project. It's just a change in the Downey contract. So this particular item obviously was contemplated all along. It was in the budget all along. It's just moving from items that the city was going to purchase on their own into items that they're purchasing through Downey.
Thank you for clarifying that. It was money that was already set aside to purchase these, and we just changed the way
So it's $1 million. It's coming across as $1.5 million change order, as though it's something we hadn't contemplated, but in fact it was. And so,
That's right.
I think that was an important distinction to make. And I guess it's here as an informational item because it's already gone to council. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So.
Okay. That brings us to item 11 on the agenda. David, you want to update us on progress as you're seeing it?
Yes, sir. A lot has been discussed this morning, but as we just discussed, the Whitewater facility is under construction, and you can see it as you drive by I-40 or I-35. We had a tour in conjunction with that beam signing event, and I think everybody was very amazed at how big this site is. You see it on paper and you think it's big, but you go out and see it in person and it's very large. So that project is going well. Senior Wellness, we have Wellness Center 1 under design, and we have Wellness Center number 2 under design. Trails and sidewalks. Phase 1 trails, which is the River Trails Project 1 and 2, are under construction. And Phase 2 trail, the I-44, is in design. And as Ms. Hooper said, there is a community meeting April 28th at the Will Rogers Exhibition Center, starting at 5:30 with the actual program starting at 6. Phase 3 trails, which is the trail that will go around Lake Draper, is in consultant selection right now. We've started that process. Phase 2 Project 1 sidewalks is under construction. Phase 2 Project 2 sidewalks bid this last Tuesday. Phase 1 sidewalks Project 3 is under construction. Phase 3 sidewalks are in design, and Phase 4 sidewalks are also in consultant selection. So we've begun the process to choose a consultant on that. So we have sidewalks being built everywhere. There's a lot that have been completed and still a lot more to come. Convention Center, as you touched on, Mr. Chairman, site evaluation has begun again. We had a meeting this past Tuesday and discussed criteria and the process going forward. There will be an analysis done by the consultant next week, and then another subcommittee meeting on the 30th to present the analysis and discuss that further. Fairgrounds Expo building is well under construction and going well. The park, design of the upper park is underway, and coordination of utility relocation is underway. And as Mr. Harding said, the preliminary design is due next month with the streetcar, and negotiations continue for the streetcars. So a lot going on.
David, Sue, can you, of the original 70 miles of sidewalks that we were hoping for, can you remind me with this additional funding where we are in terms of how many miles we expect we will have completed either by MAPS money or GEO bond money?
I don't know what that number is with the GEO bond. I know that the MAPS 3 money we projected right now, based on the numbers that we're getting, somewhere around 60 miles. When you add the GEO bond in there and the fund balance sidewalks that have been done, I think that we will easily exceed 70 miles.
Good. Thank you.
David, I was asked the other day when the river trails are going to be open.
Well, that's a good question because it's raining a lot. As much as we need the rain, it's slowing us down on that. We were hoping at the end of May that we'd be able to open that, but...
Is that both sections?
Yes. That's still to be determined, though, because of all the rain we've gotten. Oh, absolutely, yes. We're very close to finishing it. We just can't get a dry day to go out there and work.
I wanted to just supplement what David said about the convention center. Just a couple of points. We are considering some additions to the criteria that we developed before that maybe would give us a little more insight into the availability of the site that is eventually selected and give us a little more way of inquiring into cost. And then secondly, we are considering a process that would introduce more competition into the process than we had before. So this may end up, you may end up seeing before our group here more than one site brought forward for consideration, so that we don't just have one site to consider, but perhaps more than one. And that process is being developed by staff, and I think the subcommittee feels comfortable with doing that a little differently than we did the first time. So I think we're all excited and anxious to get moving with it, and I think we'll be back to you in a timely fashion. All right. Anything else?
David or Tom, I thought I heard you mention that there have been some additional meetings of the convention center scheduled. I thought you were going to perhaps share those dates.
There is one on the 30th.
There's just one scheduled.
Right now, yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. Other comments or questions from the board? Are you through with your report then, David?
Yes, sir.
All right. That brings us to item 12, comments by members of the board. Any comments from staff? Oh, I'm sorry, David, yes.
Excuse me, I was just going to say I'm looking forward to working with the committee over the next 12 months. And with the MAPS 3 process being a time-specific collection of sales tax, 1 cent sales tax revenue, which is scheduled to conclude in 2017, I believe, December 1st of 17? December 31st of 2017. I think the next year will really help us to have a better idea as to how we may conclude as far as collections of revenue compared to the budgeted amount. If we look at it today, we're about 5.8% ahead of budget. There's a lot of uncertainty about both the state and local economy, but while the state may experience more challenges, it appears that the city may not have as much problems in collecting its budgeted amounts just for general activities, general fund, and hopefully the same thing will hold true for the MAPS collection. And if we are able to maintain this momentum, we may have some surpluses at the end, but it's way too early to begin thinking in those terms. But I'm just trying to say that we have to do our best, I think, at this point in time to hold to these budgeted amounts, and then perhaps a year from now we would have a better idea as to how the conclusion of the MAPS 3 may end up. But it looks optimistic at this time. I think this committee has done a tremendous job in overseeing all the activities to date. So thank you.
Well, thank you, David. I think that's wise counsel. We, as you can imagine, every subcommittee has a couple of other things they could do if it turns out there is a surplus, but I think that we've been pretty careful about guarding against doing any of that until we make sure that we're able to achieve our primary goals. And in every subcommittee, that seems to be the track that we're on. So we're feeling good about it, and appreciate the fact you're going to be here helping us do this year. Any comments from staff?
No, sir.
Public. Any citizens here who want to be heard? Well, in that event, that brings us to the conclusion of our agenda, and I feel compelled to say that somehow, Councilman Greenwell, you have brought us to our most expeditious meeting. I mean, it's rare for us to get through in a half an hour, and so we appreciate the organizational skills that you brought us to get us here. So, someone want to move we adjourn? It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All in favor say aye. Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you.